50,000 years ago, a Neanderthal knelt beside a body in a cave. He wasn't running. He wasn't ignoring it. He was digging a grave by hand and placing flowers on top. That's the oldest evidence we have of humans facing death on purpose. And what they did next changed how their entire species lived. Stay with me, because this isn't really a story about ancient burials. It's a story about why you keep delaying the life you actually want. In ancient Egypt, people spent decades building tombs before they even died. Entire cities of workers, just preparing for the end. To us, that sounds extreme. But to them, death wasn't something to avoid thinking about. It was something to prepare for every single day. The Romans had an even stranger habit. When a general won a massive battle, he'd ride through Rome in a victory parade, crowds cheering his name, and standing right behind him, on the same chariot, was a servant with one job, whispering in his ear, again and again, "Remember, you will die." Not to ruin the moment, to keep him honest. Because the Romans understood something we've mostly forgotten. If you never think about the end, you start treating your time like it's unlimited, and that's exactly what's happening to most of us right now. We scroll for hours, telling ourselves we'll start tomorrow. We save the dream job application for when we're ready. We keep the business idea in our notes app untouched for years. Why? Because deep down, our brain is quietly assuming there's always more time. Modern psychologists have a name for this. It's called terror management theory. The idea is simple. Humans are the only animals that fully understand they're going to die. And that awareness sits underneath almost everything we do. Here's the strange part. When researchers remind people of their own mortality, even briefly, something shifts. People start caring less about things that don't matter, and more about the things that do. Relationships, meaning, the work they actually want to be remembered for. It's the same reason Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius reflected on death every single morning. Not because he was obsessed with dying, because it made him impossible to distract. Ancient humans didn't have therapy. They didn't have self-help books, but they had funerals, rituals, and reminders built right into daily life. Constant, quiet nudges that said, "Your time here is limited, so stop wasting it on things that don't matter." We don't have those reminders anymore. Death is hidden from daily life. Hospitals, screens, distractions. So our brains default back to feeling infinite. And that feeling is exactly what keeps people stuck, dreaming about the goal, but never starting, because starting feels optional, when the deadline feels imaginary. But it's not imaginary, it never was. So here's the actual lesson buried in all that ancient dirt and ceremony. You don't need a near-death experience to change your life. You just need to borrow what they understood. Treat your time like it's actually limited. Because it is. Pick the one thing you've been delaying, the message you haven't sent, the project you haven't started, the version of yourself you keep promising later, too. Ancient humans buried their dead with flowers and tools, because they believed it mattered how you lived before that moment came. The question is, what are you doing with the time you have left? Don't whisper it to yourself once and forget it. Let it follow you, the way it followed that general through the streets of Rome. Remember, you will die. Now go live like it.